I grew up in the Rio Grande Valley. My family is from here. My community is here. And there's something happening right now in our own backyard that most people have no idea about. Right here along Highway 48 in Cameron County, near the Port of Brownsville, one of the largest industrial build-outs in South Texas history is taking shape. We're talking about an LNG export terminal, a massive oil refinery called America First, one of the biggest refinery projects approved in this country in over 50 years. Data centers, SpaceX, petrochemical operations, project after project lining up along the same corridor. And if you're from the valley, nobody told you. Nobody held a town hall meeting. Nobody asked if this is what we wanted for our home. So I had to go find out for myself what is actually happening and what this actually means. Not what the press releases say, not what the politicians promise, but what really happens to a community when heavy industry moves in and doesn't leave. I drove to Corpus Christi and Ingleside, and they've been living with Refinery Row for decades. And I sat down with two people who are at the front lines of this every single day.
I feel like there's quite a few different things that negative impacts that refineries and polluters create in an area when they come and establish to an area. Right now, specifically in Corpus Christi, there's a huge issue going on with water. So that would be one of the main issues, is like, where is the water going to come from? How are they going to get it? And they should probably be water autonomous, so they don't start to use a lot of the municipal water that's for the people, because that's one of the main issues you're seeing here in Corpus Christi, is that industry is heavily using up all the water. And so that's one of the main issues. A slightly more slower paced issue is like health issues. There's a neighborhood in Corpus Christi right off of Refinery Row called Hillcrest. There's been multiple studies recently that have showed their life expectancy is on average 15 years less, which is insane. Not to mention there's birth defects in the babies in Corpus Christi. These are studies that have been published and legitimate. So, along with the use of water, the use of long-term exposure to microplastics, hydrocarbons, different molecules that agitate your air, your lungs, and your skin as well. It's not something that's really good for the community or near the area. There should not be any residential areas within petrochemical facilities for at least 10 to 15 miles minimum.
I'm Patrick Nye. I was born and raised in Corpus Christi. I have a degree in zoology, a degree in geology, and so I have a lot of love for nature, and my education put me through the oil and gas business. And then halfway through my career, I went into renewables. So I'm doing a little bit of everything to hopefully make the world a little better. As a geologist, I recognize the problems that we're going to have and have been having. We found that the industry was coming into this part of the world, the north side of Corpus Christi Bay, because of access to the ship channel and because of the higher ground. And we are all of a sudden getting crowded by these industries that are pollutants, and it's hurting our air and our water. So I have dedicated my last 6 years, at least, maybe 7, in trying to help stop this. So what we're facing immediately is probably 2 things. We have the largest oil exporter in North America, Enbridge, and the second largest is Gibson, and they are just within 3 miles of Ingleside on the Bay where I live. We also have Cheniere, which you are seeing some of the LNG issues. Cheniere is putting in trains 8 and 9. They're going to phase 4, and they're going to be one of the largest, if not, I don't know where else you could compare something that big. We also have petrochemical plants like Exxon Sabic that are producing plastics and polyethylene. We have Chemours and OxyChem. Chemours makes forever chemicals. OxyChem makes dioxin and furans that are very highly toxic and also hard to get rid of. So we're facing a lot of things right now.
Everything you just heard, the water depletion, the contamination, the air quality, the cancer rates, the 15 years taken off people's lives, that is a result of decades of industrial expansion in one region of Texas. The Rio Grande Valley is not starting from a clean slate. We already carry some of the highest rates of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancer in our state. Our water quality from Starr County all the way to Cameron County already tests for high contaminants. 4 out of the top 9 cancer hotspots in the valley circle around Laguna Madre. And now, on top of that, Cameron County is approving its own refinery row. The same types of projects, the same companies, the same promises. They're telling us it means jobs. They're telling us it means growth. They're telling us it's clean. But Patrick and Hector have heard every single one of these promises before, and they have something to say about what's actually true and what the people of the valley can do about it before it's too late.
So air quality in this specific area is interesting. So not really, the public is led to believe that, there's government agencies that are set in stone, like the TCEQ, that monitors these air emissions that come out. And so growing up and in the general population of the public that aren't doing these things all the time, I have talked to a lot of people who are under this understanding as well, that, there's regulatory things that these places follow and they go by them and they never break the rules. And these are things that, they're safe because there's checks and balances that the government puts in to really kind of monitor these things. But if you really look into it, there's been multiple different refineries around here who have lost court cases where it was proven that they were actually going way over the allotted amount of air pollutants involved and actually ended up settling in court for these things. And so there's a lot of different instances of that in this area and many different refineries around the world. I know in San Patricio County where I'm at is we don't have any regulatory monitors that are permanent near any of these refineries that are in San Patricio County. There are some in Nueces County that are permanent and monitoring constantly, but in San Patricio there's numerous different refineries that do in-house monitoring.
So what do you foresee in our region then? Because I filmed out there, it was last Thursday, I believe, and there was so much construction debris. I even took a a portable air quality meter. And as soon as I got to one area, it spiked up to about 140, which is completely unhealthy. And the workers are working in these conditions. And then you get the wind, it's kind of blowing it towards the city. And when I pushed out that video, I got called every single name in the book from people that I'm an idiot, I'm stupid because this is what the area is going to do and all this stuff. So
yeah, certainly the construction, all the dust and all the emissions that will be coming off that will be affecting you. So we have started a program. It's an air monitoring program. We're using 8 different monitors in the region, trying to understand what we're breathing and what's a baseline. Once these industries get built, what is it going to be after that or during that phase? So we're looking really hard at our own air monitors, and that might be something y'all would like to try.
I feel like the South Padre Island that we all grew up in, we all love, is not going to look the same in the next 10 to 20 years. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, probably within the next 5 years, it's going to change. Yeah. The quality of life in both our regions are dropping pretty rapidly. And so we're trying to face these. So we're looking really hard at our own air monitors, and that might be something y'all would like to try. The TCEQ puts out permit alerts, and there's different ways to look at them. You'll have to have somebody probably review the permits weekly, if not, more often than that. And you have a certain time period that you can comment on these permits. The permits will be air and water quality, that's the TCEQ. Any kind of construction in the water, that would be a Corps of Engineer permit. And then you have water usage, that's another TCEQ permit. So these permits are, in our opinion, rubber stamped for the most part. We have, I think, very good arguments about a lot of these permits, and yet they go unheard by the TCEQ. The commissioners are appointed by our governor. The governor is making sure that economic growth is above health and well-being of the residents, because that's just the way he wants to go, and it's unfortunate. So we need to change the politics to be able to get people in there that'll take a fair assessment of what people will be facing with the build-outs.
These are not politicians. These are not lobbyists. These are fathers, neighbors, people who love where they live and are watching it get destroyed. What they told me should concern every single person in the Rio Grande Valley, because what's happening over there is coming here, and we're next.
Right now, right here, we're on the north side of town, on the north side of La Quinta Channel. So on the backside of here are a few different refineries that produce multiple different things. There's like refrigerants and different chemicals they make. Main predominant wind direction is right that way. As you can see in the background here is more windmills. The windmills are predominantly facing the southeast this way, right there. So that's one thing about the coastal bend in this specific area, is the wind direction is predominantly one way. It's most of the time like northeast. And so every different location in South Texas and along the coastal bend and in the valley, there's different ways the air moves predominantly. And so it's important to know where you're at upwind and downwind and how that wind is going to affect you. Because if there's any industry in your area and you're upwind of it and that's getting blown to you, yeah, you're going to be getting toxic exposure without a doubt, 100%. So right here, we're 2 towns over, Gregory, Portland. This is a park right here. It's right next to Chenier. If you look through the trees here, you can see the storage facility. They've got some new construction going to up the production of their liquid natural gas there in that area. But yeah, this is a residential area. In the background, you can see like industry and cranes and things like that. And if you look and pay attention to the grass, the way that the wind's blowing right now, you can see that smoke coming off of that chimney. It's coming straight this way. So little do like everyone here knows, and like the school here, or they might know, I don't know, but whatever is being produced in the air is probably coming this way. And the crazy thing about it, to my knowledge, there's not any TCEQ monitors in Portland that are permanent hardcore set. So I think the closest one's in the next county over. So that comes back to one of the things, like where industry is, if you live in the area, make sure that you get regulatory like monitors that are independently monitored. Yeah, there's an elementary school here. Yeah, they're getting ready to be let out, but even in Ingleside, they're right downwind from a lot of the things. So yeah, there's obviously a park here, and school's in session right now, so there's not kids on it right now, but there will be here in a few minutes. If there was a accident, like a recordable accident that happened over there right now, the predominant wind direction right now is coming straight this way. So I believe all of these homes would probably be evacuated.
So that's what it looks like on the ground. That's what the people living there are telling you. But I wanted to see if the data backs it up, and it does. And it's worse than I expected. A study by the Texas Health Institute found that people living in the zip code along Refinery Row in Corpus Christi have an average life expectancy of 70 years. Move 10 miles away, same city, same county, that number jumps to 85. That's 15 years taken off your life based off of where you live. I took an air quality sample at our own Refinery Row and it spiked up to 139. That's rated unhealthy for all populations. And if we go back to Corpus Christi, some of these refineries are so close to schools as close to 1.5 miles away. There's a kindergarten and an elementary campus, and the agency that's supposed to monitor all of this, TCEQ, doesn't operate independent air monitors in San Patricio County. The refineries monitor themselves, and multiple facilities have already lost court cases for exceeding their own pollutant limits. The fines? $1 million, maybe $2 million, to a company making billions. That's a cost of doing business for the day.
Yeah, it's easy to lose faith because that's what we've seen too, is that they are using the political arm to go ahead and rubber stamp these. I think you have to go through a kind of a procedural way to face each one of these. You first will have to have comments is what it comes up first. So you understand what the risks are, what's going to happen. You look at your air quality, what that means. It's good to find some environmental attorneys that can help you. That would be very useful, and they can kind of help show you the way. Once you're in the comment period, you can write on your comments that you want a public hearing in your area. And then if you have an attorney that you can get on board, you can have a contested case hearing. So there's 4 things you need to do: comments, ask for a public hearing, ask for a contested case hearing, and then the petitions will go along with those documents.
Here's what you can do today, right now, after watching this. Go to the TCEQ website, look up active permits in Cameron County, Hidalgo County, Starr County, in Brownsville, in your area, and file a public comment. Voice your concerns, because here's what most people don't know. If 100 people file comments on a single permit, it triggers a mandatory public hearing. That permit can't just be quietly rubber stamped and pushed through. 100 comments, that's all it takes. If you can, find an environmental attorney. They can help you file a contested case hearing. That's the legal mechanism that puts these projects on trial before they ever break ground. Show up to your city council meetings, show up to the commissioners' courts, bring your family, bring your neighbors, make your voice heard in a room where these decisions are actually being made, because right now, those rooms are empty. Get your water tested. Advocate for community air quality monitors. The Coastal Watch Association runs 8 of them across Corpus Christi region. The Rio Grande Valley has 0. We're flying blind while these projects are being approved. And the most important thing you can do is talk to your neighbors. Share this. Send it to someone, because the single biggest advantage these companies have right now is that most people in the valley have no idea this is happening. That silence is what they're counting on. In Ingleside, a community organized. They brought the data, they brought the science, they showed up at every single meeting, and they stopped an ammonia plant from being built. It can be done. It has been done. The community has the power, but only if it uses it. Corpus Christi didn't get this warning. We did. The question is, what are we going to do with it?
people need to organize. People of like minds need to organize. Put your collective brain power together. Use science as the way to defend yourself on these permits. Use science to tell your neighbors what they're eating and breathing and what they're going to be seeing going forward. Just the release of all these emissions that we're seeing is it's incredible. It's so harmful to people. And, they're doing this, I guess the government and the industries are doing this on such a short time scale. They're not looking at the long-term effects. And I think once people recognize that, I just got to turn my head and let it go on. We can't do anything anyway, is the wrong attitude. You can do something. Everybody must do something. So stand up for others. Stand up for yourself and your family, and specifically your children and grandchildren.